Okay, and we're live. It's happening.
This is live podcasting.
Live from Rainbow Road. We're trying to figure it all out.
Rainbow Road was so punishing because you'd be winning the last lap and then you fall off Rainbow Road on the last lap. Yeah, your whole Mario Kart career is over.
I think I was playing Quake at the time. I was a PC gamer. I didn't get much into the consoles until much later. I played some of those fighting games, with friends like Street Fighter and that Power Rangers game that was going around on Super Nintendo.
Something I want to talk a little bit about is like self perception and how it like affects whenever you walk into how it affects how other people perceive you is how you perceive yourself. And one reason that got me thinking about this is because sometimes I'm clean shaved, sometimes I grow a beard. I've noticed like I get different looks whenever I have a beard, but
Yeah.
then part of me is like, are you acting different to earn this? I guess what I'm interested in is how other people perceive you is how you perceive yourself, and how much is it just out of your control.
Well, something comes to mind when you're saying all this is there was this was it there was some Discovery Channel documentary talking about testosterone, and so they had all these guys dress in different clothes. They had one guy dress in regular clothes and go to a bar, and they measured his testosterone. They had another guy dressed as a firefighter going to a bar, and he wasn't a firefighter. But just by wearing that and people looking at him differently, his testosterone spiked. And the dude that was just wearing regular clothes, he just had regular levels. Additionally, they stuck men in a regular car, a Prius, and then a Ferrari, and all the
I mean, the
testosterone
study raises.
levels were according
Yeah,
to the car.
I mean, the study's really cool, but like you just saying it out loud makes me like understand so much more.
Yeah,
Just think about how much someone feels differently in a
yeah.
Prius
Just by
versus a Ferrari.
Yeah, just by someone looking at you, it changes your testosterone and can cause it to spike by a female just glancing at you and having female attention. And so the dude in the
So this is
Ferrari,
like a weird self loop. It's not one sided. I'm sure. I guess both play into it. It's like if you do think of yourself as a higher value person, you're worth loving, and you earn a Ferrari and you buy one
yeah.
because you think you deserve it. It's like a feedback loop. This is not one thing or the other, is it?
Well, it's in one glance, the car you drive says a whole lot about you. Your shoes that you wear say a whole lot about you, and people notice this shit. And when other people notice your success, and they're on the inside of their mind, they're like, that dude did something to get that, and they're attracted to that. They're like, what is that
That's
something?
true to a certain degree, and I don't know how many people feel the way I do, but I judge people in do they feel is this what they're wanting to do for themselves, or are they trying to portray a certain image?
Well, that's our
Like,
individuality shining through. That I don't think most people are like that. I think it does work on most people, but yeah, for me, I see some dude in a Ferrari, I'm like, that's cool. What all comes with that? Like, what's the price tag of that? Truly, of your sanity, like what you're saying.
yeah, if you can barely like afford the Ferrari, and now like you're putting your family in financial trouble because you're struggling with these payments,
Right?
that's not very cool to me.
No.
But if you like show up in this Ferrari and you just like talk to me how much you love this car and how cool it is, and this is why you wanted it because it can do these things, I'm like, okay, now I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Wolf of Wall Street. He had the right attitude. Jordan Belfort. You ever watch that movie?
I like that movie. I don't like that guy.
Oh yeah. What? Why not?
Snake in the grass.
Oh, you? Well, I mean, yeah, he's a businessman.
Well, there's a lot of businessmen that want to make money off of you, but they also want to provide value. I
Right.
feel like this guy would take your value and provide nothing if you would let him.
I think he provided it for his own people, but he did, you know, fuck over everybody else. But his argument is, why are they stupid with their money? Why are they giving it to me? And that is a good argument. You know, why are all these people just trusting this guy, these cold calls, and these investments? I mean, it's like the predator and the prey argument. He's like, I'll be the predator. You know, y'all are letting me do it. I don't know what to do. I'm gonna eat some rabbits, and that's how they think. They just become like a snake in the grass. You're absolutely right. But he did take care of his other snakes in the grass. He took care of them.
I want to be such a badass rabbit that I can defeat all the snakes, and the rabbits are all better off because of it. And we're all thriving.
I think that's what humans are. Because look at
Really
how
smart rabbits.
yeah, well look at how soft we are. I mean, we don't have claws, sharp teeth. You can hug us. You know, we're very huggable.
You
You
can
know,
hug a grizzly bear too.
no, because it has claws and teeth. You know, it can hurt you on accident, but a human, you have to try really hard to hurt
Yeah, that's
someone.
right.
You
You
know,
have to have intent to actually hurt someone as a human.
yeah, because we're soft and we're loving creatures. We're communal creatures. And we figured out tools to kill shit instead of our hands and our teeth. We got smart about
But
it.
I think that's very interesting what you were saying earlier of how if someone sees you in a Ferrari or someone like perceives you as a firefighter, your hormone levels change on
Yeah,
a physiological level that actually affects your whole being in this universe.
yeah, your status changes. Literally, your physical status changes. The same thing happens with you know, as Jordan Peterson famously says, lobsters. You give lobsters antidepressants, and they flex their claws like they just won a battle. So it's as ancient, deep within our minds, within our ocean minds. This type of, oh, he's in a Ferrari. Wow, look at him flex, and then you literally flex. Like you
It's
puff your
almost
chest
like,
out.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's like very similar to like if men were just walking around like constantly like flexing their arms at all points in time.
Yeah.
Imagine just walking up to a female being like, just flexing, but look at these guns.
Well, I mean,
It seems ridiculous when you say it like that, but
that
that's basically what we're doing whenever we like acquire assets.
that you just described Italy. That's what they do in Italy, man. I mean, the Italians have a lot figured out, I think, with
They
relationships.
do, but they don't.
Well, they've simplified it. They're like, you know, they talk to each other. They meet somebody like, "Hello, I think you're very attractive. I'd like to get to know you better." And then the chick will be like, "Oh, I like you too. Let's go out." Or, "No, thanks. Ciao. Have a good day." And it's not a big deal. It's like, "Oh, okay." They move on.
Yeah,
They have game. They constantly, you know, if they see somebody attractive, they'll ask them out. If they like them, then it leads to more. And the dudes are going around flexing, and the chicks are going around walking the way they
in
walk.
America, everything's so complicated. Like guys don't even know how to flex anymore.
Right. And we
I
don't go
notice a
out.
lot of these like super rich CEOs lots of times go the opposite way, and they start dressing in like sweats and like t-shirts from Walmart.
Yeah. Well, also we don't go out. Like the Italians, it's still a big part of their culture to go get coffee, go get wine, you know, go out, you know, hang out by their cafes and talk to each other. I mean, they're not French or anything, but they have a very leisurely lifestyle. They work hard. They make Ferraris for the love of God. I mean, they're not slouching over there, but they have a work-life balance. That's what
One
I'm
thing
trying.
I'm interested in also too with this whole how you're perceived is like it would be very nice if we could separate our soul from our hormones. I get so disgusted sometimes of how high I think of myself if a couple women are talking to me and it seems like I'm getting good attention. I feel like I'm so amazing and awesome. You it would be much better to like judge yourself on more charitable acts.
I think you just described the project of Christianity. That's what they're trying to do. Um, they're definitely trying to separate, your hormones, your flesh, as they say, from your spirit. Separate the
But
wheat from the
I
chaff.
would like to maybe separate's the wrong word. I would like to kind of like create a symbiosis where they can both thrive. I would love to be like a badass strong male who's capable of like expressing masculine traits and like portraying my testosterone the way I feel naturally, but also be like super giving and kind and loving. I
Well,
feel like that's like a real rock star.
well, you've heard of the band Tool. We've listened to them before. A lyric comes to mind: "Separate the body from the mind." In Parabola.
I don't want to do that.
Well, I know. Then they talk about
I want to combine them somehow.
Yeah, and then they talk about that. About the Philosopher's Stone. They got a lot of Gnostic stuff in there.
This is like some of my major problems with Christianity and a lot of religions.
Yeah.
Is that they do want to separate these things, and I understand why, because it's a lot easier to see what your soul's interested in, and it lets you know how stupid your dumb earthly desires are.
Well, we want to
Because
distill
like
things. We want to be chemists. We want to separate things. We want to, distill alcohol and make things out of rotten things. We want to turn crap into gold. I mean, and the Christians think that they escaped this Gnosticism, this alchemical goal, but they don't. They talk about the same thing, separation, and that's what all of these people, the scientists, are all talking about all the time. And not only are they talking about it, they're doing it. They are separating things with this CRISPR genome project they're doing. You can.
I think there's a magical symbiosis that could happen where you're not too lopsided on the physical or the spiritual realm. Because me and you both know, like, as a male, like, you can be way too physical and it can be dumb. For example, like, most Saturday mornings, I have a craving to, like, eat a whole bag of Doritos and jack off. That's not good for anybody.
Yeah, no.
That's not going to help me. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help my community.
It relieves the monkey brain, though. It's like, I don't have to worry.
But as far as physically speaking, like, I would love to eat a whole bag of Doritos and jack off. That sounds like a great time.
Sure.
But I'm not going to be fulfilled.
No.
It's not going to mean anything to me.
You'll feel bad.
Right.
And you'll be like, I could have spent my time doing something else.
Like, if we were like purely spiritual and we're just
floating around, not needing to eat.
I would have to talk to these monks more.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of these monks that have just been meditating and trying to connect with their spirituality, there's a reason why we're humans. We are in this body. We're in this physical realm. I think you're supposed to experience it. And I think we can bring these two things together. And I think these monks are not experiencing the full physical realm.
No. In fact, it is their highest honor if they can get into such a meditation that they turn into a statue and they put concrete over you while you're still alive and they say you live forever meditating. I'm like, what kind of fucking achievement is that? That's lame. I don't want that. I don't want to be in Bodhisattva. Yeah, it's like you could have had a family and done something and been richer, and helped people, or I don't know, done something else, been an artist, I don't know. Not sit and meditate and live in your imagination forever in a temple somewhere. But then again, I don't know that monk story.
Maybe that's why Christianity introduces marriage.
Yeah.
Maybe marriage is like one of the ultimate symbioses of spirituality,
right,
and physicality.
Also,
like, all right, now you guys have permission to fuck.
Yeah. Well, I think the monks, they have a place, because there's a lot of men, and I've said this before, that don't have a family, that don't ever have a girlfriend. And and that's not as big of
I
a
think
problem.
that's because they're fucking up in life.
Yeah,
I think
but
they're losers.
so they go to a monastery, right? Otherwise, what are they doing? They're being that around us. You know what I mean? Like they're not going and finding value somewhere else. I mean, monks have always been outcasts and people that don't fit in and are in society. You know, and I think that they have a place. I think that not everybody can have a family. Not everybody can, you know, do everything. Like for instance, not everybody can go hunt every year because then all the deer would be dead if everybody did it. You know, there's just and as I'm getting older,
So
I'm realizing that.
Mathematically speaking, if 100 people are born, there's a little bit more females than there are male. Off the top of my head, if I remember it right, it's around 52 females are born for every 48 males.
Yeah, I'd say 24 males are getting laid and the others are not. Yeah, I would say that's accurate. And a lot of these men end up dying early doing hard labor and stuff. Um, Historically, maybe it's a little different now, but a lot of these men live transitory lives. You know, they work from state to state. They live in hotel rooms. There's a whole lot of men that live like that and have nobody to go home to.
So do you think monogamy was created by the men that are low down on the totem pole? They're like, we should all be with one person. I deserve someone too.
No, because I think well, it's unfair and it's a one-way street. Men can have multiple wives, evolutionarily speaking, but when there's wives that have multiple men, it doesn't work out because then we get confused on who the parent is, and we get confused on the lineage, and that's very important to humans. We want to know: are you my blood? Where are you coming from? Who's your daddy? Where are you from? These are very important questions, and so that puts women in a different position sexually. I think. I don't know. People can argue with that.
Something I've noticed about a lot of very capable men is that a lot of them lack a father figure.
Yeah.
A lot of very capable men had moms that were there, and their dad was kind of absent.
Right. Well, okay. So I forgot to say with monogamy versus polygamy, there's not as much focus and energy, and I don't think you can have a high. I don't think you can attain a high enough love. I don't think the love is as strong as a monogamous one, because monogamy is difficult. You're in this partnership with one person, and you continuously grow and figure things out.
For 2 people to want to continue to hang out around each other,
Yeah.
You have to make a conscious decision to make their life better. You have to make a conscious decision to fix the flaws that they hate about you. It's not easy. It's not obvious.
Yeah. You have to negotiate. And if you're some sultan in the Middle East, you can just go pick your wives if one's back talking to you, and then you go spend more time with her, and that's how they deal with it.
So the most extreme example of this, I've heard of this oil tyrant back in the 90s.
Yeah.
That, he was multi-billionaire.
Right.
Who knows how much money he had? They don't have to report that to the IRS.
Right.
But he would watch a movie, any popular American movie, and he would point at an actress and be like, I want her. They would offer, $10, $15 million, and oftentimes she would come. So at these parties at his mansion, he would have 15, 20 beautiful women. Some of them would get fucked, some of them wouldn't. He would just go to the couch and point, like, come to my bedroom. That's the most extreme, male expression of, I have all the sex that I can get because I have all these resources.
Right.
And we all kind of feel that in our. I mean, I feel it in myself. I guess we don't all the time. It feels kind of gross to me.
But the women agree that trade for sex for the resources, the money, and that's
Not all women though. There's a lot
right.
of women that are going to get that $15 million offer and be like, nah, I can live a good life without this 15
Right.
million. I don't need this.
Right.
But you're right. There's a ton of women that are going to agree with that. Hell, it's tempting to me if someone offered me $15 million to come out here for a weekend. That would change my life.
Life-changing amount of money.
So I understand the temptation. And then, all right, so that's one end of the spectrum. Then we have the other end of the spectrum of like, no one's attracted to this male.
But he's got a lot of money.
Awkward. He doesn't have a. No, the other end of the spectrum would be like he doesn't have a lot of resources. He's not rich. He doesn't have a lot of money. He's weird. He's awkward.
Right.
He can't get laid. It's a struggle.
Not happening.
And then women are like, it's like they're always kind of women can get laid. I feel like some of the even women that don't take care of themselves, women that are overweight, women that have physical deformities, women can get laid.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because there's a man out there that's going to bang them.
Definitely. But there's not a woman out there that will bang every man. And that's just the way the species is. And it's because in our species, what's unique about us is that women select. Men do not select. We don't. We don't get to pick who we have sex with. You can go ask, but it's not up to you, man. It never has been up to men in ever. And that's what's made us
I agree and I disagree. I agree and I disagree.
Okay.
Because if you're a higher tier man who is perceived as attractive, who is creating a lot of resources, you have a little bit of options. And the women that you choose to go after is up to you. And there's a decent chance that they're going to succumb.
But listen to how you're even phrasing that. There's a chance.
Right.
It's not like he
yeah,
can.
You're right.
It's not like he can go in there guns blazing and get whatever he wants. If he plays the game right, he has a good chance. You're right about that. You can increase your chances, but still
Wait a second. I want to take a step back on your point because
okay.
Just because a man will have sex with a woman doesn't mean he wants to be with her. Doesn't mean he wants to provide her with a good life.
Right.
So just because you can get laid as a woman doesn't mean that you found a mate. Doesn't mean that you found someone that's going to like provide you with fulfillment in life.
But maybe he'll buy you a Lexus. You see how that works?
At the very least, he'll definitely buy you dinner.
Yeah. Or something.
He'll definitely buy you dinner and a couple of drinks.
So still yet there is an exchange. There's always something, a reward. Maybe a promotion, maybe a car, maybe a trip, maybe a vacation, maybe I don't know what. But I've seen it. I've seen people do this. I've seen doctors do this. Get a brand new car and ride all the nurses around in it. I mean, do all nurses get in the car with that doctor? No. But it increases his chance. Some nurses get in there where maybe if he wasn't a doctor, they wouldn't. Got no chance of nurses riding in his new car around the fucking parking lot.
Yeah, I think we agree on this. We'll just have to meet somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I do think like if you're a badass man who's like making things happen, you have more options than someone who's just sorry.
Totally.
But at the same time, I agree with you. Women have the choice. It's up to the woman at the end of the day.
It's up to the woman.
I agree with you on that.
Monkeys rape women, and that's why they're retarded and throw shit at each other. Humans a long time ago decided to allow the women to pick, and if another man sees him raping that woman, all of the men go defend her. So that's deep in our species of it's sacred to us that the woman picks who she has children with. Because
it's almost like men value being worthy of the woman's choice.
Oh yeah. That's absolutely what it is. Absolutely.
If we see a male who's trying to have sex with a woman who she doesn't deem as worthy, we all have her back naturally. We will jump on them. We will physically harm them and be like, no, she doesn't choose you. She doesn't like you.
Yeah, man. And it's in
but
all humans.
We see, like, as soon as the woman gives those signs of like, no, I do like him, then everything's good. Everything's fine.
Yeah. Even if he's abusing her, if she's okay with it, all the men back off because it's, again, her decision. Like even the police, if the woman drops the charges, well, okay, ma'am, you sure you're going to still be mad at him next week? You still pressing charges? You sure about this? Because people drop it all the time. And our society values that too. It's holy to us still.
Okay. All right. So this is right now. We're just talking about a point that we agree on. All right. So we agree that we all value whenever a woman decides that a man is good enough for her.
Right.
I think this is really weird. That why do so many women have a rape fantasy?
Because they want to feel safe. If that makes any sense whatsoever. If a man is
not at first it doesn't.
Let me
where you're going with this.
Let me explain. If a man is willing to do that to someone he loves, someone he cares about, what's he going to do to a bad guy? What's he going to do if somebody's trying to challenge your power and taking food out of your children's mouth? What's he going to do to that guy? I think it has everything to do with that. Because look at Exhibit A, 50 Shades of Grey.
I think that's the most popular book. In our modern time.
And who is he? He's a powerful businessman, gets what he wants, but he values this one girl and her virginity. And he makes a deal. She makes a deal with the devil. That's what that's about. And look at Beauty and the Beast. Look at and here we go all the way to the beginning, man. Look at the Garden of Eden and Eve listening to that evil snake. There's attraction to it. Like, why? I don't know. But men can't forgive women for it. We don't want to be like that. And Adam's like, I don't want you getting me in a lot of trouble with God doing all this. It's something about women are attracted to that evil. I don't know why. They think they need it more than God. They're like, there's something valuable about this knowledge this snake is giving me. There's something seductive about this snake.
I think it has something to do with the feminine energy is more receptive. And if I had a more receptive energy, I would imagine it would be super stimulated if it was being provided with this massive stimulus, even if it's evil. Because you can imagine like a dark, evil force coming at you 100%, nothing held back, ready to rock and roll. Got you in a stranglehold, baby. Sexually speaking, I would say that's massively stimulating.
But this is the underlining thing that I think we've really got onto something here. It's still the woman's choice in 50 Shades. She signs the contract.
Yeah, she agrees to all this. He never really raped her.
So let's be very specific about what we're saying here, or what I'm saying. What I'm saying is women have these rape fantasies, but they want to pick who does it to them, and they want to control it. And then there's a trust in that. There's There's you won't hurt me. You're just trying to get me pregnant. You're just plowing the field, man, and planting the seed, and they want you to do it good enough, I guess, deep down. They want you to lose control of your senses, your reasonableness, in a passion.
It's called C and C. This is like if you look at any like sexual thread on Reddit and you ask people what they're attracted to
Uh-huh.
or what their kinks are,
Okay.
this thing pops up every time. It's called CNC.
Well, I'm ignorant about this. What does that mean exactly?
It's consensual, non-consensual.
Okay.
These women want to be dominated. They want to like give up their power in the moment sexually
Uh-huh.
to be dominated by this powerful man consensually.
Okay. Yeah, that's 50. That's what I think. That's what all women really want.
Consensual, non-consensual.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm agreeing to let you do whatever you want.
Right. Right.
But without that first part, the first part is super important. It goes back to what you were saying. The woman chooses. The first part, it starts off with consensual.
And what these MGTOW people and all men going their own way and all these monks and what they have a problem with is that they're like, okay, you want us to go out, you want us to be a nice guy, you want us to be this, you want us to be that, but then you want us to do this. I'm confused. And it's a game, and people don't want to do the game, but the game is important, and it's complicated, but that's why we're so intelligent.
I don't think it's that complicated, man. I can see this pretty well from the female perspective.
And
they want like a badass, capable man
right.
who you trust, who you believe in,
right.
who you think is making the right decisions, and then not all the time, not during out your whole day, but maybe in the bedroom, you want to just give up. You just want to let someone take control and like live out your sexual desires.
Right.
And then whenever that's over, you still want to be a partner. You don't want to be seen as less than.
Yeah. Or a monster. And you don't want to be seen as a monster either, because then, they say the safe words, and then, it all boils.
I'm glad you brought up the monster, because as a man, like if you help a female live out these desires, it's easy to perceive yourself as a monster. You're like, wow, I just did some crazy stuff to her.
Oh, you're not perceiving.
Like, no. We both agreed to this. Like, it's all good. This is just natural expression of our insane sexuality. This is what humans do.
Well,
and the most healthy way to portray it is in a consensual way.
Right. I agree with that. But what I would say, it's not a perception of being a monster. You are a monster. You do.
You're right.
You are embodying it. It is not a game. I mean, the game led to that moment of you being up inside a woman and being aggressive, but make no mistake, you are embodying a monster, and that is turning your woman on. And is that you, though? Do you want to identify with that? And that's what Carl Jung talks about, integrating your shadow.
Yes. You don't want to identify with it 100%, because as humans, we're capable of so much. We're empathetic. We're loving.
Right.
We care about people. But at the same time, as a man, any honest man is going to acknowledge he's a monster.
Or the ones that don't are not successful.
Yeah, I think you got to let this monster.
You got to give it a job.
I think all men should be a monster, but the key to that monster's cage, it should be hanging from your belt loop at all times.
Yeah, that's a great.
And anytime that this monster's getting out of control, lock him up, because it's not beneficial now.
I think that's what.
But as soon as you need that monster, as soon as you need to let this monster out of the cage, that key to your belt loop, it should be there ready to rock and roll.
I think that's what the story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll, whenever he would want to let the monster out, he would drink this chemical that he made, and he would turn into the fucking Hulk man and the monster. But he was this highly intelligent scientist, and he had this duality within him that played out in that story, and that just comes to mind when you're saying that stuff. I think we know this, but we have forgotten and don't tell each other these stories really anymore. That's why we told each other these stories all the time. We're like, don't want to be Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. That's bipolar. That's somebody being bipolar, not integrating their shadow, and they let it run rampant. And you need to have a lid on it. You need to have that key, as you say, on your belt loop. And people don't know this shit anymore.
Because think about it like this. Let's say you're the most loving man ever. You're raising beautiful children. You always care for your wife. Someone tries to break in your house and tries to hurt you. You better turn into a monster right then and there.
Yeah.
You better turn into the Jackal.
Yeah.
You better tear someone's head off.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, no wonder a woman would lose attraction.
Right.
That's one of the. So think about it from a woman's perspective. Like, that's one of the most massive benefits of being with a capable man, is that they can take care of this crazy stuff that the world might throw at you.
Right.
But you don't want that to show up at the Thanksgiving dinner.
No.
You know, when we're all eating turkey and we're all eating mashed potatoes and it's all chill. Don't let Jack go out right now. Like, calm your ass down.
I think that's why a lot of normie chicks are attracted to, wife beaters, because they have that one check mark on the first thing that in women's circuitry is like, oh, I need this. He has to protect me. And they think that is good enough, and it's not.
It's not good enough. It's just that they finally found someone that's like actually like they can be attracted to.
And
I think they fully see the red flags. I think they understand how stupid this guy is.
They don't.
It turns them on.
I think the goal is to not change mates, and if they have a hyper aggressive male, then the chance of having different dads is highly decreased. They can keep the same male and bloodline going, and I think that's another priority for humans. It's built into our DNA. We just do it naturally. People that are uneducated and don't know anything do this pattern. So I think it's built in.
I wouldn't say uneducated, because the education nowadays teach you to be like a docile baby fawn.
Well, the education you get today makes it to where women are lesbians, and they don't even have any desire to be around aggressive men whatsoever. In fact, when I was in college,
have you heard of this? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, in fact, when I was in college, I mean, I'm not that aggressive. I'm disagreeable. If somebody's getting in my way, I let it be known. I'm not gonna be silent about it. And all the women were like, "Oh, what are you so aggressive for?" I'm like, "Well, you guys are talking shit about me over there, and I'm just pushing back. What's the big deal?" And
okay, so this leads perfectly into what I was about to say.
Disgusted them.
So there's this new phenomenon going on, and this major publication recently wrote a paper about it. They called it the Golden Dick Syndrome.
Whoa.
And what this is so currently there's way more females getting degrees than there are males.
Right.
So on these college campuses, you got at least a 60-40 female to male ratio.
Yeah, that's what I saw in school too.
And on top of this, it's very encouraged to be gay, be bisexual, to be asexual, be weird with your sexuality, all these college campuses completely encourage you to do any kind of weird sexual thing. It's all about acceptance. It's all about experience.
Yeah,
it's all about expressing yourself.
Wear a dog outfit. Wear a dog tail to class.
There's this thing going on where there's so many females compared to straight males on a lot of these college campuses. There's not enough dick to go around. and there's actually an article put out recently called the Golden Dick Syndrome, where the few straight males on the campus who are actually just trying to live their life and have sex with females they're attracted to are now being coveted.
Wow. Oh, what an issue that has arisen.
And it's funny because it's kind of like, well, this is what you guys created, and you're living in the world you created, and now you're complaining that there's not
Yeah.
enough dick to go around.
Yeah, and the men that held out to their values and liking women, they are rewarded now.
So this guy over here that has a girlfriend who's like banging her out in the daily, pretty natural male thing to do, pretty natural human thing to do. He's being called a golden dick syndrome because he's not banging everything on campus.
Yeah, I bet all the chicks are telling her must be nice.
Must be nice to have a straight dude that's always wanting to hang out with you.
Yeah. Well, yep, they fucked it up when I was in college, man. Like, shit, 7 years ago now, I guess. It was aggression, but you know what? Oh, I got a funny story to tell you about all this. Um, I was so there was this lesbian that liked me, and then she started talking to me, and I was just ignorant. I didn't understand anything about what was going on. I was just like, all right, whatever, you're into chicks. But then, she started hitting on me.
No, wait a second. What do you mean likes you? Like, if she's a lesbian, do you mean she likes being a friend with you? What was this
Oh no,
lesbian trying
no.
to do?
She turned into, she wanted to bang, and but couldn't admit
She's
it.
not a lesbian then. Dude.
Right,
This is
right. And I noticed this happened with several other chicks. They would be like, "Oh yeah, we're gay," and blah blah. But then they want to hang out with these straight dudes, and then one thing leads to another, and then I ask the question, so you're like bisexual, right? Like, oh no, I don't, no, no, no. I mean, not usually. And then I'm like, what do you mean? And then here it comes. They're like, there's just not that many straight dudes around and dudes that will, like take what they want. And I'm like, oh. So this has been happening for 7 years. This has been cultivating for a very long time. This deep 50 Shades kind of all these lesbians fantasizing about the straight dudes and they're not really lesbians. Um, but they act like it. They do this show, this dog and pony show, and they push all the dudes to think, oh, we need to be gay to have female attention, and then they don't try to fuck them. They don't try to make out. They don't say they're pretty. They don't compliment them. They don't see them in that way. In other words, they don't objectify them. As a sexual being, and all these women are frustrated.
Struggling a little bit with the equality of like bisexuality because I noticed that like women that like proclaim to be bi, they're not judged really at all. Most guys don't give a fuck. And whenever it comes to professional roles or whenever it comes to movie roles, no one cares. But it's like as soon as a guy like becomes like bisexual or he does some gay things, lots of times now he's automatically cut off from.
Well, it's because of the butthole, man. Let's just get to the bottom line. It's the butthole stuff. That's why. With women, they're not doing butthole stuff, man. They're playing with pussy. They're not doing butthole. There's no doo-doo involved, and that's the bottom line problem that people have with men.
Well, I got 2 points to make about this.
Okay.
I got 2 points to make about this. My first point is, I think man-on-man gay sex makes way more sense because men can actually fuck each other.
Okay.
And then
I highly disagree. Disagree for the record, but continue.
And then the second thing is, when you look at the actual energy, females are more receptive. So it's like, well, obviously they're going to be open to more different sexual energies. Like, if another woman like they perceive as beautiful, they're going to be like, yeah, I can recognize her beauty. I can appreciate her beauty. I can be sexually attracted by her beauty. You can still like perceive her as like a feminine woman because it just makes sense. But as a man, like if you're trying to put out the sexual energy, but you're over here getting banged all the time, it's like, I don't know how much sexual energy you're putting out. Are you male enough for me? So I understand it from the energy perspective. Logically, like I said earlier, males can actually have sex with each other. So I feel like if we're talking gays, I feel like male gays have way better sex than female gays.
I disagree.
Like,
Have you ever seen two chicks making out, man? Like there's a lot of sexual energy there without penetration. I mean, there's you know, it's like two flowers in the
I've
wind,
seen it, and
man.
I'll tell you what it is. They do foreplay forever. They do foreplay forever.
No, they don't. No, not true. Not at all
That's
true.
my experience.
No, no, no. That's not true. What?
At least guys get off.
Not, I mean the girls are just different. Let's just say.
I mean, they probably regret it afterwards. I'm not saying it's a
No,
good idea.
no,
The
no,
guys probably get off and they're like, "Oh my god, damn, I fucked up."
no. Chicks are not like that, man. Chicks are very, very, very different than men, and it's an accepted thing with girlfriends, and they touch each other and they kiss and stuff, man. Like, oh, chicks do that, and that's normal. That's even healthy for them, I think. But dudes, no. Um, it's good that we fight each other and stuff, but then gay sex is like a fight. You're a bottom or you're a top. You're fighting, you're wrestling, you're fucking, you're getting buttholes turned inside out, and you're hurting another dude's butthole to feel good. It's all violence. And male sexuality is violence. When we're fucking a girl, you're stabbing her pussy, man. You're stabbing her, and then she's screaming, and it's like you're killing somebody over and over, but it feels good to the chick. So, but with chicks, it's a
Oh my
very
god, dude, that's just so hilarious. I've never heard someone like say gay sex is just violence.
it is
It's pretty
violence.
funny.
It is. It's. I mean, can you poop right after? No, you got your shit falling out every time you fart, man. Like it's not nice. You're not getting healed when you're getting butt fucked. You're not helping your body. It's not good for you. Totally violence. It's
At the end of
harmful.
the day, though, like I mean, I think we can all agree, like the best sex is male female sex. That's when people are most fulfilled.
Maybe.
Because I even think that like when lesbians are doing their fucking massive build up, and maybe they do get off between like
I
licking
think
each
they're.
other's clits and stuff.
I think they're
I
more
still think
comfortable.
that they want a dick.
I think they want both, and I think it's two different things, and I think women have a different relationship with each other, and even have different orgasms with each other. And I don't think men are capable of that.
No, definitely not in that way.
No.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there.
Women can definitely get a very deep connection with other women and help each other. And
Yeah.
again, that is why in the past we've been able to have multiple wives, but not multiple husbands in a family. Women work well together. They can. They
A
can.
clear example of this in Hollywood is Neil Harris.
Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah,
Yes.
Doogie Howser. What about him? He's gay.
So originally, like he always played like the womanizer role,
Right.
and like once he came out as gay, like Hollywood, like no one could buy like whenever he would like be cast as a womanizer again, like no one would buy it. It wouldn't sell. So now he can only be gay or he can be like a eclectic weirdo. Whereas if Scarlett Johansson like did some weird gay stuff, no one cares. She
Right.
can still be the beautiful housewife. She can still do whatever she wants. And I think this is because it kind of like taints the role.
Yeah, and his status. What's that doing to his testosterone levels?
I don't know. You'd have to test it. It might make him high as fuck. Maybe he's just gay and he likes it.
Maybe. But I think I don't know. I've just about every gay person I've met has been a very troubled person and had a troubled relationship with their father, and most of it has been sexual abuse. And I'm not going to sit here and act like that doesn't have a lot to do with it. I think it absolutely does have a lot to do with it. And women, I think, are gay, uh, not necessarily for
Women
for
are
those
gay
reasons.
naturally.
You know,
Women are not gay Like when
It's not even,
when
yeah.
most women say that they're bisexual, I'm like, you're not bisexual. You're just a woman.
Right.
Like no wonder you find women attractive. They're the most beautiful people. I think even artistically, like if we're talking like aesthetically speaking,
Yeah.
women are prettier than men.
Well, absolutely.
Like
Well,
even if you look at like just the way their body is configured, they're just a more like artistic art piece.
yeah.
So it's like it's almost common sense that like a straight woman would be attracted to like another pretty woman.
Yeah, or even
I'm not saying she has to have sex with her, but I'm just saying like it's obvious that the attraction would be there because it's like, wow, this is a beautiful person. When lots of times like an attractive man, it's not obvious.
right.
The aesthetics are not there. The artistic expression is not there. There's a reason why when like they want people to draw naked in these art classes, lots of times they get naked women instead of like just some dude over there jacking off.
Right. Well, I think it is it all comes down to this is women make life and men protect life, and our bodies represent that. You can see that physically.
Okay, so we're having a sex talk, and I want to see what you think about this.
Okay.
So, all these Greek statues have extremely small penises.
Exactly. It's because they thought big wieners were barbaric, and they were retarded because all their energy went in their dick instead of their big brain.
Okay. But I mean, you've both had sex with women.
Sure.
And it's kind of obvious that like if you had like a much smaller penis, the sex would not be as good.
Right. But you have the resources like that Sultan, $15 million, come over here and party, have sex with me. Was his dick huge? No. He has resources, and that's what the Romans were hammering. They're like, have the intelligence, the resources. The physicality is not important. Women will select you anyway. And that's what those statues say. But as we can see, that's not true. Women want both. They want you
That's
to have
what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And I guess this goes back to the symbiosis I was talking about earlier of like combining like physical hormones, your body, your physicality with your spirit, your soul.
Yeah.
Why not both?
Right.
We can have both.
I think most comic book movies are shit now, but I think one good one that I've seen lately is Venom, with Tom Hardy, and I think that goes over exactly what we're talking about. He integrates this demon monster thing that infects him, but he's such a good moral person that he's like
a good guy.
Yeah, he reinfects the demon with morality, and then they balance each other out. So he has this crazy physical power, but with a spiritual morality and a soul that makes him superior to all the other bad demons that Venom fights, like Rampage and.
Yeah, that's funny you bring him up. I've always resonated with that villain the most. I've always like he's so badass.
And he's not a villain. He's an anti-hero is what they call it. And Django Unchained is an anti-hero, and they're like anti-heroes are my favorite. They're Emily's favorite too.
Magneto's an anti-hero.
Right.
He's wanting to make the world a safer place for mutants.
Right.
In the process, he's like destroying all the humans.
Right. So anyway, the anti-hero.
That's a more realist. Like that's why we gravitate towards these anti-heroes because it's the villains in real world. They're so easy to shoot down. It's like you're fucking us all up. It's like fuck you. Go die somewhere. We're all going to team up. We're all going to kill you. This is easy. But whenever you got an anti-hero, it's like, okay, now it's getting complicated. It's getting real.
Yeah.
Whose team am I on?
Yeah, they're the blend between the angel and the demon. They're the ones that can operate correctly on Earth. They are oriented.
Fucking powerful too.
Yeah, they're the most powerful.
To defeat.
Yeah, because they
There's
have
a reason why Magneto wasn't defeated in the first comic book. It's because he has some things to do.
he has a point. He has a story. He
It's about intention.
yeah.
His intentions are not purely evil. You can argue and say he is evil, but if you're being honest, he's not purely evil. He's trying to do some good things in his mind.
Right. Honestly, what the anti-hero is, it needs a whole other term. It needs the correct term that is
So this is kind of controversial, but
Mm-hmm.
do you think Hitler was an anti-hero, or do you think?
Well, I don't want
Or
to
do you
get.
think he was just straight up villain,
I don't.
evil psychopath?
I don't want to get us taken off of YouTube or anything, but let's just say that history is very complicated and everybody has committed atrocities, and I think it's just crazy to point the finger on one guy, Hitler, for all of the bad stuff that's happened, and ignore
No,
Stalin.
we never do that. There was so many people
Yeah.
that helped him do that. But I don't know. I guess I'm just more concerned about his intentions. Like,
I'll give you a good example.
An evil person. If Hitler was in front of me right now, like, and he was still trying to do his shit, I would willingly kill him because I'm like, this guy is he's trying to fuck us up.
But that's putting all the blame on one individual. All the blame can't be placed on one individual because everybody in Germany did it. You know, everybody. You know, there was a few people that rebelled, but most everybody went along with it. Same with Russia and Stalin. Same with China and Mao Zedong.
Ooh, this brings me on like a new interesting topic.
So it's not his fault, is my opinion. It's not Stalin's fault. It's the individual's fault. You know, it's fault, and that's what nobody wants to talk about. Everybody wants a fucking scapegoat. Everybody wants a Jesus Christ 2.0 to crucify.
And you know what this leads to, man? This is tribalism.
Yeah. You know who Adolf Hitler is? He is the new American Jesus Christ that we crucify every day and worship. Because worship is attention. And how much attention do we give this fucking guy that's been dead 100 years almost?
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'm still talking about Hitler, and he's like so dead and gone.
Yeah, but he is the scapegoat for all of humanity for which we will place all of our sins. All of our sins are put on Hitler. Every single one of them.
I think it's because, like, in real life humanity, everybody's an anti-hero that's bad. But I think we can almost always agree that, like, Hitler was, like, almost purely evil. And I don't even know if that's correct, but I think that's just what we've done. And it's almost nice to be able to point to something that definitely don't do that. That's bad.
But we are doing it. We are doing it again. We're doing it all over again in the form of this political shit. I mean, we're already dehumanizing each other, just like what happened in Germany. It's a repeat. You know, now Christians are the new Jews. You know, that's them. It's the coal miners. It's the timber people, the lumberjacks. It's the hunters. The hunters, they're killing all the poor animals. You know, they're the new persecuted people. And people don't see that. They're like, yeah, fuck the Christian. You know, fuck the... No. These people are going to be, you know, backed into a corner. And I don't like that. And so it doesn't matter how much we point the finger at Adolf Hitler. Nobody learned a fucking thing from anything in World War II. Nothing. Look at what we just did in the Middle East. You know, we killed like 1 million civilians to try to get like a few hundred terrorists that attacked us, and nobody bats a fucking eye at that because, you know, they're different. They're on the other side of the planet. They shouldn't be living over there. They shouldn't be associated with anybody that bombed us. And that's accepted, you know. So we're already doing shit way worse than Hitler because we're not even conscious of it. At least the people in Germany knew what they were doing. You know, they were conscious. It was a decision. But with us, it's just kind of like, well, I take the truck to Walmart to deliver the food that feeds the military that makes them bomb people. So I mean, we're all responsible. We're all responsible, except the Amish. They're just like, leave us the fuck alone. So I don't know. I mean, uh, I forget why did you bring up? Oh yeah, anti-hero. Was he an anti-hero? Um, no, but I think Genghis Khan was. Genghis Khan built the Silk Road, but he slaughtered millions of people. Anybody that got in his fucking way, you're dead. But he connected China to Europe and Germany, and
Yeah, I feel like that was just a consequence of him being an egomaniac,
I don't think he was an
him
egomaniac.
expanding his empire.
I think he wanted to build a future for the world. I think he was a visionary, and he achieved it. He did it, and you know, not only that, Genghis Khan had sex with more people than anybody that ever lived, and had more kids with people than anybody that ever lived. He has the most relatives alive than any conqueror. He just had
I
sex
think
with
that's
everybody.
disgusting. I think that's disgusting.
He left his
Because
mark
I
behind
think
forever.
I would imagine the majority of that sex was not wanted. It was just the remnants of tribes that he took over
Well,
by force.
a lot of tribes joined him. That's the thing that's interesting about him. If he fought another general in another tribe and he was good, he would offer him a job. And that's how he got the horde. He's the only guy. You see the Dothraki in Game of Thrones. They're based off of Genghis Khan and his horsemen. He really had a horde of people that he absorbed, and he rewarded the most skilled people. He didn't kill them. He didn't feel threatened by powerful men. He wanted to be he wanted them all to be on the same team, taking the world over, and that's why he did, and that's how he did build the Silk Road. And a lot of these women were not raped. They wanted to have his children because it was an honor to them.
I don't know.
They all
I
lived
don't
in the
know.
same. They all moved from camp to camp, and they all kind of lived together. And he had all these damn wives, man. All these chicks had these 50 Shades.
I would have to ask them. I would have to ask them because
Right.
if you're capable of destroying my whole village, and I know this is my only chance to live, how much of a choice do I have?
Right.
So, in American society, it's completely different. Women can do whatever the fuck they want. They can say, fuck you. I'm going to go experience this career. I'm going to go make some money by myself. It's a way different situation whenever someone's like, hey, we're going to wipe out your village. Do you want to join us? Yeah. I want to join you.
Yeah.
That's a completely different situation.
He hit a wall though, a literal wall, a castle wall in France, and those people had technology and fire. They had oil that they could pour on people and set them on fire, and you couldn't put it out with water because it was oil.
I'll tell you what this wall is. This wall, every egomaniac is going to run into this.
Also, the Great Wall of China.
There's people out here that value family above anything else. And they don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about me. They don't give a fuck about anything. They care about their family.
Right.
And when you start running into those people and they're willing to die for their family, there's millions of them, you can't control these people.
No. But they're not organized.
They're not organized, but they don't have to be. And
oh yeah, they do.
That's
They do, because otherwise it's like the beginning of Conan the Barbarian, where his family gets killed. Like, great, they all have swords, but is there some dude in a watchtower to yell when they see some guy come? No, they're not prepared.
You're right.
They're not
You're right. They do
organized.
have to be organized.
You get
You're right.
slaughtered. Like,
You need the organization.
you can have 5 dudes come in there on a tribe of 500 and kill the strongest men. Everybody else will surrender, man. I mean, you start burning your houses down. You can't get to your weapons. I mean, you're fucked. You have to be organized, and you have to be vigilant. And people get too comfortable, and then these hordes form, and they come and take over because they're the big man. They're the big man. They're the 50 Shades.
Currently, right now, I think this is why it's impossible to overtake America, because there's too many individuals that love their family, and as soon as someone invades, I haven't even made kids. I don't even have a wife. But as soon as someone invaded, like, I don't want to fight any wars. I'm not joining the military. But it's the first second that someone invaded and was like, they're trying to threaten your American way of life, I'm going to join. I'm going to join any kind of coalition. I'm going to join any kind of group that's going to stop this force. And I think that's one reason why America's so powerful. And there's some kind of weird force going on that is trying to destroy this American family values.
Well, I got a black pill for you here. Are you ready?
Sure.
We're already under control. They don't need to come in here with guns, man. I mean, they can say whatever they want in our election polls, and everybody can doubt it, but nothing will happen because we're not organized. There's not any we're outsourcing our organization to the government, which is the very people that's fucking us over. So they don't need any. You don't need any violence because everybody is docile enough to just take it. Already, our American way of life is gone. It's been gone. It's been gone before me and you were born, dude.
No.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, you can create an awesome family right now.
Yeah, but not the kind that our grandparents talked about or our parents. It would be different. Great. You're right. We could have a great family, but it would be very different and isolated. You know, where's the community? Where are the friends for your kids to play with if you don't want to do this and you want to homeschool, you want to check out or whatever, you don't want to be a part of that. Like everybody's quitting work. What are they doing? They're going off grid. They're figuring out other ways. But I don't think that everybody should be isolated and go off and do it alone. And that's the whole point of what I'm talking about. We're communal creatures, but we're acting like individuality is the most important thing. Freedom above tradition. Freedom in its essence, freedom is chaos. There is not order in total freedom. When you can do just whatever the hell you want to do. There, and then as we said in the last podcast, what are the kids to think? Nobody gives a flying fuck anymore. We're all in adult mode, like we're already all grown up. But what about the kids growing up in? Oh, you're an individual, freedom, or be gay.
We're in such a fucking spiral right now.
Yeah.
We're not even worried about our kids. We're trying to figure out what to think.
Definitely. That's how I feel because I don't want to have children and then fuck them up. But I also know it's extremely important to have them. Can't wait around forever. So,
but at the same time, you got to realize it's never been a perfect time to have a kid.
Right.
Ever in the history of humans has it been a perfect time to have a kid.
Right.
It's always been fucked.
Yeah.
And that's up to the kids to figure out what they want to do with this.
I think
that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, we're figuring out.
It's created in a fucked up time, and we're figuring out what to do with it.
Yeah, we are. We're reorienting ourselves and forming our new communities here. Like all these people doing podcasts. They have their own little communities on Discord where they talk to each other every day about specific stuff that they know about in their knowledge sphere. Then they can build upon it and help each other. I think that just the next step is finding out how we can have villages, new villages. where we can be around people like guilds, like in Oblivion, you play Oblivion, you have these guilds where everybody's kind of teaching each other skills, and you have somebody you can apprentice under, and I think this is a thing that's coming back, thankfully. People are going back to like not quite total Amish, but we are splitting away from a lot of the 21st century. Even styles, people are going back to like 70s style and disco music on TikTok, and people are like, I think we fucked up here. Let's like go back to our last good save and play that game and enjoy ourselves, and maybe we can pick up on where we left off on some good points we had in culture. Because in the 70s, you had black people and white people roller skating together, man, under a disco ball. There wasn't any fucking racism. We were kind of getting past it. And then the 90s is like, oh, this is racism again. It's all this bad inequality. We were partying in the fucking 70s. Like, fuck off, man. Bad vibes. What are you talking about?
We can move forward as a culture,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think we have to realize that like Hollywood is dead.
Yeah.
A lot of the people that I talk to now, they listen to like people on podcasts. They listen to people that are free, that are putting out this entertainment. We can all bond over that.
Yes.
But as far as Hollywood goes, it's kind of dead right now. No one really bonds over Hollywood. And then, whenever we were young, that's completely different. In the '90s, early 2000s, everyone was like, "What's the newest? You see that new movie, man? That was crazy."
See the new
We could
Mortal
all bond
Kombat?
over that.
Yeah. Yeah, we all bonded.
We kind of realized that California fucked up. They put the wrong governor in. Hollywood's dead. Most of the cool people I talk to now, they'd rather talk about a podcast that they listen to. And that's because that's the free media. What we're doing right now, this is free media. There is no one censoring us. Yeah, I mean, we can say some fucked up shit and maybe get pulled off of YouTube. But at the same time, like, we can still post this anywhere. We could create our own website and post it. And this is the thing that people are connecting with. This is the thing that people want to express.
Yeah, man, they want authenticity. They're tired of this fake format, the bullshit, the fake face, like,
Yeah, you just said bullshit. If you was on PBS right now, they would tell you to leave. They would bleep that out and they'd be like, "Yeah, we can't have you back on."
Yeah.
Which is it's so dumb because bullshit is like a normal word that everyone uses in their daily life. Like,
right.
Why wouldn't you use it in an entertainment medium?
Right.
It's the dumb control that people are tired of.
Yeah, the stupid fucking format of everything where you absolutely know it's fake. You absolutely know that they're not being authentic at all whatsoever with you.
Yeah, it's the authenticity. You're totally right.
Yeah.
And like humans are so aware of this. They can pick it up. I know I can pick it up within 10 seconds of talking to somebody. Are you playing a game? Are you trying to get something from me? Or are you just being a real guy? Or are you being a real lady?
Right.
It's so easy. Humans, I don't know how far this goes back. I guess it goes thousands and thousands and thousands of years back. There's this weird thing where I don't know if it's money. I don't know if we value time.
Right. Here, hang on. Hey, Jonathan. Yeah, there's
And it
a
makes me wonder
deficit
that,
of real authenticity.
I guess for the I don't know this to be true, but I'm guessing like the majority of people have always been real. Even if they were fucked up and they were like telling you that they did want to take over your village, they wanted to wreck your wife. So, well, fuck this guy, but he's telling me what he really wants to do.
Yeah, that people, like this guy Dan Pena, he's a businessman and he gives business advice. That's him. He's like, I'm gonna come in and take over your village and burn everything down and rape and pillage, and everybody listens to him because he's so honest. Um, he's just dead honest. He'll hurt your feelings. He'll punch you in the face if he thinks you're retarded in his class, and if he thinks you're a bad businessman, he'll tell you to leave. He invites these people over to his castle and he talks shit to them until they become millionaires. But they value that. People want that. There's millions of people that watch him and listen. Um, and there's just a desire for that authenticity because maybe they didn't get that from their parents. Maybe their parents told them they could do anything. Maybe their parents lied to them and said they were special or something. This guy's like, you're not. But you could be if you get away from your shithead family and you get away from your stupid loser friends. And everybody's like, okay, writing down notes. Tell me more.
How do you feel on like if you have a kid, are you gonna like tell them that they can do anything?
At a certain age, but as they get older and I start to see how they focus, I'll start to say, I think you're pretty good at this. And if they say, you think I could be like a ice skater? I'll be like, no, I don't think you could be that. I don't think you could be anything.
You've never ice skated in your life before. You're 18 years old.
Right.
You missed out on that.
Yeah. So no, but when they're like 5, yeah, because they can be. There's infinite potential. I don't know who they are yet. They don't know who they are. And I want to help them decide. So at a certain stage, yeah, it's great. And what I think is a lot of parents give their children extended childhood past 5 years old of saying you could be anything. When they start to see that they can't, like maybe Bobby over here is really husky and he wants to be an Olympic swimmer, but he'd be a good football player instead. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And people gotta be honest with what they got.
I think people should definitely be honest with their children.
Yeah. And sure,
I agree with you. Like someone does have unlimited potential when they're 5.
Yeah.
No one knows how they're going to turn out. No one knows what they're capable of.
But as your kid turns 13, 14, don't tell them that shit. I mean, help guide them. Don't send them into a fucking spiral of infinite possibility. That's the worst fucking thing you could do. That's terrible.
Yeah. If they're like a skinny kid, like you're not going to be the next world's strongest man.
No.
This is not in your cards, bro.
But that doesn't mean you can't kick a big man's ass. That just means you can't lift a weight. But maybe you could be a great martial artist. That's the thing that people miss out on. You could be great at something if you put the time into it early enough as a teenager. But we don't do that. The Asians do that. They do that.
The Asians start early. They start so early. They'll start.
You can't wait.
Like a strong 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "You're lifting weights."
Yeah, you can't wait. And the Asians get that. They have a very strong connection to their history. In fact, the Asians worship history.
They lose a little bit of magic.
Oh yeah.
Probably the least magical culture. Like we all know, like it's like a stereotype that like Chinese and Japanese are like very calculated.
Yeah.
And they just lose a certain amount of magic.
Well, they take stoicism to the fucking next level.
And I think that's a big reason why, like, America has created these beautiful ideas that have changed the whole world. The whole world copies America in a lot of ways. Whenever it comes to smartphones, internet, airplanes, electricity. A lot of these things we take for granted as American ideals And I think it's because American culture allows these things to prosper.
Well, we make money off of it. And I hate to reduce it down to that, but I mean that is what has
No,
drove a
wait a
lot of.
second though. You said that like it was. I felt like when you said that it was like a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with making money. There's nothing wrong with making money off
Well,
of an awesome idea.
let
I
me
think you deserve it. If
let,
you came up with a good idea right now, I think you deserve the money. It's good.
I just
Thank you
I just
for making a good
compare it.
idea.
I compare it to the old European motivation of Christianity building all of those great churches and buildings. I mean, their motivation wasn't the money. Their motivation was us. They wanted their future
You're right. There is
generations to.
something lost in like
Yeah,
pure capitalism.
that's what I'm
We
saying.
lose a certain amount of beauty in working together.
Yeah, and passing down your mason craft to your son that he builds the same church that you built, and when you die your son might lay the last fucking block that finishes that church, and you know that with your dying breath. I mean, that's not something we know anymore. That's not something we're connected to anymore. Like our buildings, we don't have blood, sweat, and tears anymore. It's like some construction company made that,
No.
and they made a lot of
Build
fucking
as
money.
fast as you can, as efficiently as you can, as a fucking square. All right. Good
Yeah.
job.
And there's a lack of spirituality in our buildings. Do you look at all of our buildings? They're masculine. They're angular. They're not curvy and beautiful like these churches, like women, where there's creative energies inside of it, and that makes me upset, really. I wish that we could have some creative meaning, some feminine energy in our architecture, where it was beautiful to look at instead of like, oh, look at that square jaw on the side of that building. Great. It's very strong. I'm impressed with the
Yeah, one
angles.
of the things that the past civilizations did have correct was combining this male and masculine energy, this
Bingo.
female and masculine energy
Yes.
to create something beautiful,
Yes.
awesome,
So,
powerful.
something divine that we've lost. Um, yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it.
And it's like things that come so tribalism. It's like you either identify with masculine or feminine these days.
Right.
It doesn't even matter if you're female or male. It's just the energy of it.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, I want to be purely masculine. All right, I want to be purely female. No, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like we should all like integrate both these energies because I'm a man, but I love listening to people that are smarter than me. I love listening to people that have ideals different than me. That's a feminine trait because I'm ready to receive those ideals. I will take those in all day.
Right. It makes us more effective men, though.
Right, because when I'm ready to put out my energy, now I have the combination of not just my pure masculinity, like that's just going to like, like put out my like pure egoism. It's going to portray so many more things.
I just had something pop into my head that's profound I want to share with you. A good marriage is like a sniping team. The man is shooting the rifle and the woman is spotting, telling the man if he's sinning, if he's missing the mark. And when they communicate well enough on a sniper team, you don't even have to talk to each other and you can help each other get the target. And
I agree with that.
And I think
a
past
lot of
cultures
men are
did that.
obsessed with shooting bows, and that's because something about shooting an arrow and hitting the mark is just like so many men are obsessed with this.
Yeah.
And I understand it. I think it's cool too.
Well, I mean, we
like
embody it.
The feminine energy, like you're right. So many females will be like, they'll even go. They'll tell you so many things. Not only are you missing the mark, the missing the mark's obvious, but sometimes females will be like, you're shooting at the wrong thing.
Yes, you got the wrong priorities.
This is not even the correct target to shoot at.
Right.
You're like, oh, okay. What should I shoot at?
Little to the left.
Men are good at shooting. Men are very good at shooting. Men are very good at aiming. Men are very good at putting that energy in a specific direction. Women are very good at figuring out
a target.
Right.
Yes, they're good at figuring out the weak spot, and then they're like, okay, man, apply power here, and that's the weak spot, and then that helps us survive, so they have somebody to come home to. It's a relationship. But I just saw a man and a woman being snipers working together, hitting a target, and I'm just like, that's what we're supposed to be doing. That's a great analogy. We need to be on a team, working together, hitting the same target. Because it's a battle. There's people coming after you. There's people coming after your husband, after your wife, after your money, after your job. And if you guys aren't on a team watching each other's back, then you're going to get devoured. You're going to get taken out. Somebody's going to take your job. They're going to fuck you over somehow. You got to have a good team. You got to have people watching your back.
Yeah. As much as America loves individuality, and I love individuality, that's probably like my main religion. I love freedom. I love expressing people's individuality, but it means so much more if you have a team. Or if you guys' individuality lines up and you want to conquer the same goals. That is powerful.
Ooh, yeah. That is power. That is power.
Because it's the nature of being a person. You're going to fuck up. You're going to miss. And if you got someone that has your best interest in mind, always there, no wonder monogamy is the current relationship model we use. It's so beneficial.
People are too complicated. Yeah. How are you going to get to know all these different people? And it all depends on what our goal is. In our society, we decided our highest goal is spirituality.
Expressing yourself.
Well, I mean, with the monogamy specifically.
In America, I feel like the highest goal currently, culturally, is just like expressing your individuality. And I love that so much, but at the same time, I feel like it's almost gone too far. Because it's like, if I dye my hair purple and I decide that I'm gay, now I'm like more valuable culturally. And that's just so ridiculous. I know that's not like the fullest expression of myself.
Well,
the fullest expression of yourself is to like find someone that has similar goals as you, and then you guys both work on and help each other to achieve those goals.
What's funny about these people that are becoming homosexual is they're thinking they're becoming individuated, but they're not. They're becoming just like everybody else.
That's the new sheep.
Yeah.
The new sheep is like gay blue hair.
And I want to go back to something you said a minute ago about, we value individuality and expression here in America. We never have. What we do is we tolerate it. Every time, say, when the hippies came around, big resistance. Nobody gives a shit they were being individuals. The gays come around. Nobody gave a shit. And then everybody becomes...
You can monetize it, right?
Yeah. Then it becomes monetized. Being a hippie, buy a tie-dye shirt, Grateful Dead, monetized. Being gay, buy hair dye, turn yourself blue, blah, blah, blah. Monetize that too. So what we do here in America is we commodify individual trends, milk it dry. They're still milking the hippie thing and the tie-dye thing. That is still a person you can
be. To this day,
yeah.
It started in the 60s. And it was bullshit. When it started in the 60s, like every corporation was like, this is the dumbest thing ever, pushed back against it.
Right.
But as soon as they figure out how to monetize it, yeah, this is a good movement. Let's keep this going.
Well, here's another.
They have their tie-dye shirts.
Here's another black pill. They do that so they can monetize it. they make it a rebellious thing, and they know human nature. They're psychologists in these marketing things. There's all these
Oh
psychology is
yeah.
taking over everything, and we don't know it because we've been out psychologized. Okay, but when you start to learn
Half of business colleges and half of marketing is a psychology degree.
yeah, how to manipulate people. Um, anyway, shit, I had a point. What the hell was I saying? Um, damn it, I forgot.
Well, psychology degree, if you're being a psychologist and you want to actually help people through their problems, that's one thing. But if you're just wanting to get like understand people's psychology to sell them things, honestly, like I'm feeling after this conversation, I'm feeling like marketing's so gross.
Oh, it is. Yeah, have you ever heard of the comedian Bill Hicks?
Yeah.
He had a great bit on marketing psychologists. I won't repeat it here. It's pretty bad, but he's just basically saying they're the most useless people on the earth, and they might as well try to fly off the nearest building.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel that way the older I get because you get so many ads that you see and you're just like kind of like we were talking about the authenticism
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
When you see these marketing people, you're like, this is the opposite of authenticism. This is you manipulating me to buy this product.
So then it becomes the trick of not becoming manipulated. And it becomes the task of the individual because, man, I was pissed off at him for a long time too. But it all comes down to you got to be pissed off at the whole planet for being controlled by a few people that are smarter than them that went to college. Um, we have to expect more out of people, or accept that there's an elite class and people that follow, and we can either be in that elite class, be outsiders, or work for them. And there's not really another way out of it. And I don't know why. And that's the great mystery, as I was saying earlier about mapping out this conversation as we go, trying to figure it out. That's one of my goals of figuring out something. Of what I want to figure out is there a limited number of individuals in any given generation? If so, why? Can we increase the number of individuals? If we do, will that be catastrophic? Is that okay that we
If
that
we
we
were
do that?
all individuals, it may be the downfall of society.
I don't know. In the Frank Herbert's Dune, he talks about the great scattering, where all human cultures separate and don't communicate with each other, so they don't fight. They since they're in space, they can go into all kinds of different planets instead of fighting on one. And that was he said that was the only solution humans could have to not annihilating each other with their differences. What do you think about that?
I feel like if humans can escape butts and we like stop fantasizing over butts and we start focusing on community and love,
Yeah,
then we can actually get somewhere.
right. Yeah,
But
the butt thing is weird.
sometimes I feel like we think love's like this like weird magical thing that only happens between soulmates. And I think if we like really like connect with humans and like empathize with each other, we probably love most people.
Yeah,
Like don't judge them by their Facebook, don't judge them by their Twitter feed. If you was to actually sit down and talk to somebody, we probably love most people. Love, I feel like, is a lot easier than what we make it out to be. We make it out like this like magical substance that it's hard to find. I feel like it's free and it's easy and it's everywhere. You
yeah,
just gotta like take a step back, let your ego go. Like, yeah, you want this thing to happen, but just take a step back and let this person express themselves. And sure enough, like you're probably gonna love a lot about them.
Well, why do you think gossip takes over though instead? And people, even on the news media, it's gossip. It's nothing is accurate. It's all hearsay, and people take that as gospel. Gossip and gospel. Those are two similar words. They're very close together, aren't they?
Yes, they're super similar. But gossip is just a natural human phenomenon.
But it
If we're trying
dictates.
to understand it, honestly, like I feel like gossip even has a bad rap. I think
Yeah.
gossip can be good. I think we all want to learn about each other.
Right.
And if I do something that you're not aware of and someone tells me, that's technically gossip. But you want to know because you want to know like people's intentions, right? Intention is the most powerful thing. Intention and attention.
But is
That's
gossip
the two most.
accurate? Is it? It's not accurate though. The gossip is not accurate, and but the gossip dictates our elections. Everything. Everything. Even if somebody gets fired at work or not, everybody that talks under their breath and behind their back, that dictates a lot of things too. Gossip is the king of our decision making process as human beings, and it's so
I think we need
inaccurate.
to like bring love, and we
Hmm.
need to bring. Yeah, we need to bring love more back into our elections. We need to vote for people we love.
Yeah.
Recently, DeSantis has done a beautiful job as far as I'm concerned, and just like it's states' rights as far as this COVID thing goes, and he's did a very good job of keeping his state very open, and I love that about him. If DeSantis runs for president, I love his ideas. I love his actions. I will vote for him out of love. He seems like he's promoting free American ideas.
Right.
And I think if when we start like voting and acting out of love, I, I got a good feeling. I got a very good feeling about that. I think it's just going to permeate our culture.
I think it did with the hippies, and I think they ran into a problem with that and found that love can't solve everything. Um,
No, you have to be logical. You have to be capable. You have to be a badass. You have to not be scared of people that don't love you. The thing about love is, if someone doesn't love you, that's okay. Carry on, brother.
yeah,
You don't have to love me.
no,
But if enough people love you that vote you into office, that is the overwhelming majority, that's when magic happens. I feel like when JFK ran, people loved that guy.
they didn't actually. People hated him because he was Catholic, if you can believe that, and they thought that he was going to get secret orders from the Pope and make this a Catholic country, and
I
people.
can believe that. I have massive distrust towards anything Catholic.
Yeah, and everybody, and he had to publicly denounce the Pope and say that he won't listen to the Pope on matters of American policy, and that he will
Well,
make.
I think things like that. Like I think they loved him personally.
Yeah.
There may have been certain ideals or certain like beliefs that he had that we didn't love, but I think they loved him as a person. As yeah, just the way he portrayed himself. You can watch him in speeches, and people will be like, "Yeah, I love the way he talks. I love the way he is."
Well, I think you can tell he gave a shit.
And I don't even know how. The last like 6, 7 presidents that I can even think of, I don't love those guys. Like, I agreed with Trump's policies. I don't love him. I think he's an egomaniac. Like, I couldn't hang out with that guy. Like, I would get pissed off at him. Biden, that guy should be in a nursing home. Obama, I think he was just playing to the team. Bush, I think he was just playing to the team. You know, you could go so far back, and it's like there's no love involved. It's just
Politics.
pure politics.
Yeah.
Exactly. But someone who's just like acting out of like, no, I really want this to happen. I think it's the best. It's the best that I can do right now. That's a different thing than playing team ball.
You would think that when an individual would stand up like that, that people would stand up too, like a role model. But we don't. We don't see that as a role model. I'm just mystified by this circuitry inside of us, our DNA or whatever, that
If
shuts.
DeSantis and Gabby Tolser join together, they could be 16 years of love.
They could be. I guess I'm just not convinced that that's the way forward anymore. I feel like that there's already something going on without the government involved that's going forward.
So honestly, I've never voted. I've never voted in my life.
Yeah.
And the major reason why is because I've never felt any kind of love towards any of this shit, and I don't give a fuck about none of it.
Right.
And I know it's my American responsibility. I understand all these things. I love America. I love freedom. But it's all these. I don't give a fuck about nobody running. I don't give a fuck about them. But if DeSantis and Tulsi Gabbard ran together, I would feel like a certain love. Now that would motivate me to like actually go to the polls and vote for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
I've never voted. I would vote for those guys.
I feel just disenfranchised from it. I have voted ever since I've been able to, and nothing got any better. I mean, it didn't. I just don't feel like it mattered.
I think that's why. I think that's why because like you knew that like you agreed with certain things, but
Yeah.
I don't think you actually felt it in your soul.
No. And I don't feel it anymore that what we're doing is working. I think it was great beginning, but now we got to do something different. I mean, we're losing steam, and I don't want us to fall into the rocks again. You know, there needs to be some kind of revival of our spirit, and the government needs to get on board with it. Otherwise, it's going to get swept away by some cultural change, not a war, but like everybody quitting and not paying taxes anymore. How are they going to fucking operate if people are more interested in spirituality and living in the woods? You know, it's over. We're going to have to do something different. I don't know what, but people can't just bury their head in the sand and act like the next generation of workers is going to be there. It's not. It's not.
No.
Let alone kids being born. The kids aren't going to be there. So we got to really figure out what the hell is America doing? What are our values? You know, are we all different? Should we just all scatter to the wind and good luck? See you later.
What the fuck's up with this bullshit about people like hating on America? The whole point of America is that we're creating something that we love, that is free, that allows us to express whatever we want to express.
Well, that's why they hate us, because while we're doing that, we're strip mining the whole world and bombing people. I mean, it's great over here, you know, but I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like that's not what's happening. You know, that is what's happening. We do have a monopoly over the world. There is a McDonald's everywhere, and that came from here. You know, everybody watches and listens to our music. We are culturally dominant. You know, even people in Russia know who Jimi Hendrix is. You know what I mean? And the cell phones and computer technology.
I want to keep on being culturally dominant.
Yeah.
Because right now it's fucking dead. There's nothing new that's came out within the last 3 years that I give a fuck about.
Right.
The only thing that I care about in the last 3 years is podcasts.
Same.
and that's because it pretty much lacks all the laws. The laws haven't caught up with podcasts yet.
No.
As soon as the laws catch up with podcasts, I'm sure they'll be terrible.
As soon as they regulate it, we're going to have to find another way to express ourselves. And it seems to be the curse, the Sisyphus.
You can bet your ass that there's people in China that are legally downloading Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh, for sure.
It's a pure fucking born American podcast, and it's pure ideals that are ready to talk shit about anybody. If you fucking up, we're gonna talk shit about you.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Do better. Don't fuck up.
Yeah, don't
and then
fuck
it'll be
up.
cool. If we're not allowed to say Taiwan's a country, even though it clearly is, then there's going to be a problem. People want truth. Taiwan exists.
Yeah, who was that? John Cena that went on there speaking Mandarin, apologizing? Can't remember who it was exactly, but it was some.
John Cena can go disappear as far as I'm concerned. I used to think he was so cool growing up. You can't see me.
Yeah.
Dude's over here squatting 500 pounds. He's so strong. I don't care. You're not allowed to say Taiwan's a country just because you want to make more money out of Fast and Furious. You have no morals.
No. And that illustrates my point even further about there doesn't need to be a shooting war to take over America. It's already been taken over.
I tell you who does have morals that we should back up.
Who's that?
I don't even know what to technically call them, but it's the tennis team in America.
Oh.
The national tennis team in America. Here recently, a Chinese tennis player has disappeared because she spoke against the government, and the tennis team has pretty much said that until this lady reappears, they're not doing business with the Chinese.
Excellent.
And I love that.
Me too.
As far as I'm concerned, I'll start watching. I will start watching tennis.
Yeah.
I love that.
They got some balls.
Some lady that was very good at tennis, very talented in China, spoke up and said, she was raped. The Chinese government was doing some messed up things against her. She kind of disappeared. The American Tennis Association spoke up and said, until this lady is able to play tennis again, we can't really do business with you. Yes, that's what we need. That's what I'm about. There's plenty of people in America that's going to fund you, that's going to support you.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad people need to begin to be outraged about what China's doing. You have all these liberal people complaining about inequality, and they're typing it on their fucking cell phone that was made by child slavery. I mean, give me a fucking break. The hypocrisy is unreal.
I'll pay $1,000 extra for a phone made in America. A phone made in America. I'll pay $1,000 extra. If you can prove to me this phone was made on American soil without the slave labor, I'll throw $1,000 down.
Well, they do. They make phones like that already.
Not only will I throw $1,000 down, I'll buy it for Christmas presents.
The Samsungs are good. They don't use child slavery. They have adult workers that make those phones. Same with the OnePlus phones. They're made by South Koreans that are free adults. There's shit out there, but people just want to buy an Apple. And everything Apple makes is done by slave labor, child slavery at Foxconn.
It's so fucking annoying because Apple's an American company.
Yeah, not anymore.
Move your stuff on soil. Or, all right, I'll even give up if you want to produce 2 phones. All right, this one's Chinese slave labor. It's way cheaper. This one's American made. It costs $600 extra. Give me that phone. Give me that phone. I'll buy it every time.
Yeah, they don't want that. They got exactly what they wanted. A country full of burger flippers that don't know how to make anything. So now what do they have to do? Oh, we're sorry, Big Daddy government. We have to use the Chinese labor because they know how to do it. And there's not a skilled workforce in America. And what are they
I'm ready,
wrong?
America.
Are they
I'm
wrong?
ready, America. I'm ready to make things for America, and I'm ready to buy things for America. If it costs more, well worth it.
Well, you got to look at what people in America want to do. And most people in America want to have a farm now. That's the new. They want to have a family, a farm. They don't want a job. They don't want to make. They don't want to work in a factory. But you have all of these new third world countries coming up out of their dark age, basically, and coming to technology, and they're more than willing to kill millions of people to work in a dirty factory. They're even willing to throw their children in there. You can't get that in America. We can't compete with that. We will never be able to compete with that because we don't have a culture where we throw our kids away.
I disagree. I think there's so many people in America that are making good money
Uh-huh.
that if we knew that this phone was on American soil, purely American made, there's so many people that would be willing to pay an extra little bit.
Well, you're right in one regard. We have a great white collar working class, but our blue collar working class is shit. It's been gutted since the 70s. You know, there has been some serious problems with that where it's been outsourced. So people that don't want to make a lot of money, say, you know, and do technology, you know, there's just not a factory where you can go work around here. It is all in China. And since that's been going on for 30, 40 years, all of the old dudes that knew how to do that are dead, and they didn't apprentice the young people because the factory was gone. So the whole cycle has been fucked here. We'd have to restart a whole other thing of having an old guy know something to pass it on. Now we got to start a whole other skill set. Anyway.
Man, I got to end this podcast. I got to get to bed.
Okay.
But I will say, Apple, make an American phone. I will buy it. I will spend my money on your phone.